Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about a non-negotiable, something that you absolutely must do to get the absolute best optimal weight loss outcome, make your weight loss journey go faster, get better results, make you happier. And this is something that many of you probably are doing, at least I'm hoping. And some of you maybe are thinking about it, and some of you just don't even know anything about this. And before I get into it, and I will, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here and you don't know me whatsoever, I'm Jules, and I have been on a health journey kind of my whole life, to be honest with you, but more recently have lost 50 pounds with the help of a GLP-1. I've been on all of them: Ozempic, Wegovy, compounding tirzepatide, Mounjaro, and I'm on Zepbound now. I have been maintaining that loss for over 2 years. Yes, I am still on a weekly injection of Zepbound. My personal dose is 12.5 milligrams every week. It keeps me sane, it keeps me stable. I still eat a lot, I work out a lot, and it's what works for me. So what I want to talk to you about that is your absolute non-negotiable, and if you haven't done this yet or haven't really been doing it consistently, I am going to hopefully convince you by the end of this video to get you excited, motivated, inspired to start lifting weights. I want to talk to you about the effects of lifting weights physically and mentally and emotionally, the pros and the cons if you choose not to do it. And again, it is your choice. You have autonomy over your body and your life and what you choose to do. But this message is for the folks that are thinking about it, or who know about it, or who haven't quite grasped it yet, or don't even know where to start with this. Maybe you know it's good for you, but you don't really know anything about it. So I want to talk to you about, if you choose not to do this, what those repercussions are, so you know what you're getting yourself into. And if you are currently lifting weights, how amazing this is for you, and some things you don't even know about. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's start with the science. So if you are on a weight loss journey and you're like, holy cow, I lost 50 pounds. Where's that weight coming from? Is it coming from fat loss off your body, or is it coming from muscle? Because that counts. If you are losing weight, great, but you haven't done any sort of resistance training, strength training, anything to build or maintain your muscle, then there is a good chance, a very likely chance, that along with the fat loss, you are losing a great deal of muscle, up to 40%. What does that mean? That means if you lost 50 pounds, then maybe 20 pounds of that is muscle and only 30 is coming from fat. Why does that matter? Why should you even care about it? I mean, you're down on the scale, right? Yay. Well, here's why that matters. When you lose muscle, it lowers your metabolism, which means that you have to even eat less food to maintain that. Trust me, when you get to maintenance, when you get to your goal weight, you're gonna want to eat more. The medication, if you're on a GLP-1, it doesn't completely squash your appetite. In the beginning it might, but over time you do get some of your appetite back, and that's good, and that's healthy, and that's the way it should be. You should be hungry, then you get full, then you get hungry again, versus before the GLP-1s when most of us were just hungry indefinitely all the time, and that just never shut off. It does shut off, but here's the thing. You want to be able to eat enough to nourish your body and keep your muscles and all that good stuff. But when you lose muscle, your metabolism will lower. The other thing about when you lose muscle is there's an impact also on your bone health. And this is very important, especially especially for women, but men too have this. There is a likelihood of getting osteopenia. Osteopenia is the precursor to osteoporosis. Osteopenia is when your bones start to thin out, and osteoporosis is when you have brittle bones. And if you fall down, you trip, you lose your balance, and this generally happens when you're a little bit older, there is a really good chance that you will break something like your hip or a femur if that happens and you have osteoporosis. But this can be prevented. I know women who are my age, who are in their 50s, that are going for the DEXA scan that actually measures your bone health, because there's two different types of DEXA scans. This DEXA scan will measure your bone health in your hips and your spine, and it will determine what your bone health is. And I know women who have been diagnosed already in their 50s with osteopenia. That's freaking scary. Nobody wants that. The good part is it's preventable, and I'm going to show you how it's preventable. I'm also going to show you how that can be reversed if you've been diagnosed with osteopenia or even osteoporosis. You can help that by strength training. At the end of the video, towards the end, I'm going to tell you how often, how much you have to do. It's really not much, and it's completely doable. But first, I want to continue with what happens when you lose muscle. And I know people out there who are influencers or GLPers, and they're out there and they're sharing their story, and that's great, and they're losing weight, but they're not doing any strength training. And to me, that is a terrible message. I'm sorry, but that is a terrible message to send to people. You must lift weights. Your health will deteriorate if you don't. You may not feel it today, but you will feel it. And there are other little inklings of things that you will feel. So here are some of them. By not lifting weights and losing weight and being in a calorie deficit, not only will your body get smaller, sure, it's gonna be smaller, you're gonna end up being a smaller version of your old self, but your body shape isn't really gonna change too much. You're just gonna be a smaller, mushier, squishier person. And at the end, you might not even like how you look, because you're not going to have that tone, that muscle tone. The other factor to really consider is when you lose muscle, your energy levels decrease. So you don't have as much energy mentally or physically. You're just less apt to want to move. You're less apt to want to go for a walk, or just, those neat calories through the day. Those are the fidgeting calories where you're pacing or you're tapping your foot or that type of thing. And those burn up a lot of calories. So when you don't really even have the energy to do that, your metabolism goes way down. You really don't want that to happen, because it's harder to keep the weight off, even with a GLP-1, when you don't have those neat calories, when you're not fidgeting, when you're not being as active. So that's another reason. Your energy level goes down. You tend to be more fatigued. You're not going to be able to eat as much. You're going to have less bone density because you're not lifting the weights. Lifting weights helps with the bone density. And even your mental clarity. Muscle also is a sink for glucose, which means it helps to increase your insulin sensitivity. Now, if you were diagnosed as pre-diabetic or have type 2 diabetes or just really high insulin resistance, this is going to be your saving grace. And it's really everyone's saving grace, because when you eat something, it turns into glucose, and that glucose has to go somewhere. The more muscle you have, your muscles will just soak it up like a sponge, and that's what you want. And then it will help to build the muscles, especially if you're hitting your protein target. But if you don't have the muscle, then that glucose is gonna find another place. Guess where that's gonna go? Your body fat stores. So the more muscle you have, the healthier you're gonna be mentally, emotionally, physically. your bone health, you're gonna look better. Now here's the other thing. I've seen this over and over again with people who lose all their weight, they hit their goal weight, they look in the mirror and they're just a squishier, flabbier, have loose skin, and they didn't lift any weights and they don't have the muscle tone and they're not happy. And now they think to themselves, oh, I wish I had lifted some weights. It's never too late to lift weights. It's never too late to start. So let me start with that. Never too late to start. You can start at any time, but the sooner you start, I guarantee you will be happier, even if your scale weight slows down. And I get it. People are on the internet and they're like, I've lost like all this crazy amount of weight so quickly. And it's hard not to compare yourself and think, well, I'm not losing, as fast as they are. But keep in mind, those people that are losing really fast and they're not strength training, and if you're losing more than like 1% of your body weight a week, there's a good chance they're also losing a lot of muscle. That's just not healthy. I mean, I lost 50 pounds and it took me about a year to lose it. And the last 10 pounds took almost as long as the first 40. It took a long time. It is a commitment. It is a willpower. It is everything. You still have to employ all the tools, even if you're on a GLP-1. I think people who are on a GLP-1 understand this. If you're not on one yet or considering it, yeah, you still have to put in a shit ton of work into losing weight, getting healthy, building muscle. It takes a lot. Here's the other thing. When you start lifting weights and you do that, you're going to feel amazing. You're not going to see the difference right away. You will see the difference towards the end of your journey. And here's the thing. You start lifting weights, you start building that muscle, but you have body fat over you, you're not really going to see it. You're going to feel it though. You're going to feel the mental health benefits. You're going to feel more energy. You're going to just be happier. You're going to be stronger. And as your body fat reduces and peels off of you, it's like unraveling a present. That's what happened to me. I had muscle on me. I have always been active and lifting weights. And as I started to really lean out and get that body fat off, all of a sudden I saw muscles that I never saw before, and it was amazing. It was such an amazing feeling. Don't you want that feeling? I mean, not only to look better and you look more toned and you look in the mirror and you think, wow, that's me at my age. And I don't care whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80, you can still do this. You can build the muscle. You can look amazing for your age. You can look amazing at 50 or 60 and look better than somebody who's in their 20s that doesn't even lift any weights. Absolutely you can. Again, never too late to start, but I'm going to urge you to start now. How do you start? How long do you need to do this for? If you've never lifted weights before, then 2 days a week is all it takes. That's it. Just a commitment. 2 days a week, 10 to 15 minutes a session. I think we all have 30 minutes in a week to dedicate towards lifting weights. If you want to do more, then by all means do more. Go anywhere between 2 days and 6 days a week. Fantastic. I lift about 5 days a week and I walk daily. And walking daily is absolutely my non-negotiable. And 5 days a week lifting is pretty much, I'm very, very consistent with that now. More consistent now than I have ever been in my entire life because I want to. And the more you lift weights and the more you see your body changing, the more you're going to want to do it. Now in the beginning, it might be a little difficult. It might feel awkward or weird or whatever, or you just might be like, I don't really want to do this. You just got to make yourself. You have to just make yourself do it. Set your feelings aside. Put your feelings on the table. They'll be there later on when you're done working out. You can bring them back in. But in the meantime, just go do it. You could do it in a gym. You could go do it at home. In the beginning, you could start with body weight, then incorporate some heavier weights because that's what builds muscle. You have to send a signal to the muscle to build. And after doing body weight, your exercises for a little while, the muscle gets used to it. So then you need more intensity or volume or resistance called progressive overloading. You need to keep sending a signal because your body will adapt. And so having some dumbbells in the house or a weighted vest when you're walking, which is what I love to use, that will help to send the signal to continue to build that muscle. So I think 2 days a week is something we could all do. And then once you start, you may think, wow, you know what? I really like how I feel when I'm lifting weights, and I like how I feel after. I'm gonna add another day in. And that's how it started for me. I started with 3 days a week, and then I added another day and add another day. And there's even some days or some weeks when I will do 6 days a week. But in general, I do 5 days a week just because I feel it mentally. Again, like I'm not seeing necessarily a physical result right away, but mentally I need to do it. It lowers my stress. And that's another thing. When you start lifting weights, it really helps to lower anxiety and stress so much that I call weightlifting like my anxiety pill. So there's another good reason for you. Look, your goals don't have to be bodybuilding. Your goals don't have to be anything crazy, but you want to retain your muscle. You want to hopefully build it. Because as we get older, we will lose muscle. So even the fact of retaining your muscle and preserving it as we get older is essentially building muscle. Because if you're not doing it, you're just gonna continue to lose muscle year after year after year. And that's been shown in the research, especially after the age of 40. So men and women, it's so important. And for everybody to also balance their hormones and make sure that your hormones are there and in balance. Having more muscle helps with that. And for guys especially, the more muscle you have, the more testosterone you're going to make as well. And as you lower your body weight, that also helps to manage your hormones much better. So there's really no excuses for not doing it. You can go to a gym. They're not that expensive these days. You can pay a $10 a month membership to get to a gym. You could do it at home, which is what I do. I just work out from home. I have dumbbells. I have a pull-up bar. That's it. You can get a pull-up bar for $25 off of Amazon. Dumbbells, maybe a little bit more expensive, but doable, I think, especially with the investment that you're putting into yourself. So again, for those of you who haven't started, you might go, okay, this is the message I needed to hear. So I hope that this has convinced you to go out there and start strength training. I'm going to start putting out some more of my workout videos so that you can, if you want, you can do what I do. You can work out along with me and get started that way. So leave a comment in and let me know, what are your thoughts? Are you working out? Are you thinking about it? Have you started? Do you work out at home? Do you work out in the gym? What is your preference? If this hit you and resonated with you, I would love to get a like and hit the bell button so that you know when the next video is coming. Go lift those weights. Stay strong.